I can't hear you.
I'm talking and muted. Let me start over. Good Sunday morning, everybody, and welcome to The Formula. Today is Sunday, June 14th, and you are now watching The Formula Podcast, where we gather together to put our minds together and figure out how to crack success codes, how to apply the formula A equals EP2, which means that ascension is the outcome of experience in proper perspective to our lives, and hopefully you'll figure out how to make it work for you as well. So we got a good show for you, planned for you this morning, and some great information that we want to share. You should go ahead and get your coffee, get your journal and your pen, grab a blanket, share the link with someone you know who is trying to grow, somebody who's actually interested in ascending. If you're over on YouTube this morning, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We want to get our numbers up as much as possible and get ready for a journey into the substance of the soul. Our affirmation of the day is that doesn't belong in here. Something I've started saying to myself. And it's fitting because we're going to get into some intrusive thoughts later. Put a bookmark right there. In case of negative, self-defeating, low vibration contemplation, you are advised to not allow the said thoughts to take up residence, to squat, or to rent space or otherwise in any way invade your mental or spiritual territory. Talk back to it. When you clock it, stop it. Use some of the greatest tools that the universe gave you, and with every ounce of intention you can muster and resistance that you can muster, speak back to it and tell those thoughts, tell those feelings, that doesn't belong here. It doesn't align with who I am working hard to be. That doesn't match my constitution. Know your constitution. Know who you want to be and what aligns with it and the things that don't. And then refuse to hold space for anything that deviates from where you set your internal navigation system to arrive. So you say to it, that doesn't belong here. I had some thoughts over the last couple of days that just kind of jumped in my head seemingly out of nowhere. And, I knew that they were out of sync with where I am in life right now and what I'm trying to do. So I immediately talked back to it and told it, that's not a part of what I'm doing in my life. It's not a part of the purpose that's inside of me. That doesn't belong here. Write that down, keep it, hold on to it. I got a poem of the day. I selected a poem of the day for us this morning. It is by none other than, Audre Lorde. Why is it? Oh, it's upside down on the. That's crazy. Anyway, Audre Lorde. The poem is called Dreams Bite. Dreams bite. The dreamer and his legends, arm at the edge of purpose, waking. I see people of winter putting off their masks to stain the earth red with blood, while on the outer edges of sleep, the people of sun are carving their own children into monuments of war. When I am absolute, at one with the black earth, fire, I make my now and power is spoken. Peace at rest, and hungry means never or alone. I shall love again when I am obsolete. That is Dreams Bite by Audre Lorde. All right. So poem of the day. Now, let me introduce my amazing co-host. We're going to be one co-host short this morning. Mahogany Soul is a little bit, under the weather. And it sound like I am too. Shit. Is a little bit under the weather, so she will not be with us this morning. But who we do have is an amazing brother, friend, poet, Black Jesus carpenter without the sandals of the 12 lonely homies wandering out in the woods with no women. He's a musician, a father, a yoga instructor, meditation teacher, and he used to be a bootleg movie distributor on the Philly barbershop scene. Yogi John is here with us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome none other than Yogi.
First off, I still got open cases. You can't be telling everybody about my barbershop days.
I heard about you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. My goddaughter graduated high school. I'm up here celebrating with
Hmm.
them for the weekend.
Okay.
She's got a full ride to Northeastern, so we had a Boston tea party for her.
Okay.
That was pretty cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right, right. But yeah, it was really cool. I'm really excited for where direction she's going and how it's gonna change her and all those things, man. College really
Hmm.
does push you in a different mind space. It's almost like at least I felt like when I was in college, like this is like the launch pad for the world, right? Like where am I
Yeah.
going to go after this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Ask me how I know. A lot of teaching college. A lot of my students don't even really figure that out until a few years in, and then they finally start putting it together. That, oh yeah, I got to go out here after this is over with and take over the world. So
mhm,
yeah,
that part.
best wishes to her, and much success in all of her endeavors. So yeah, how was your week?
My week was good. I'm actually work is work. I took some time to like do some other things this week. I
Hmm.
really want to get back into my yoga practice like the way I was practicing before. So I
Hmm.
gotta make some extra effort to get up a little earlier and to become a morning person again. Um
How are you not a morning person when you got to get up every day extra early to go to work? I know, how does that work?
I don't because I'm lazy in the morning. I wasn't lazy in the morning before. I used to get up, teach yoga online
Hmm.
for an hour, then practice a little bit for myself, and then get showered and get breakfast and go to work. So I was up at 4, done my practice at by 6, and then going through it. It's a little loud. Um, but I
I gotta turn. Okay, right there. Okay, sorry. Okay, cool. All right.
I had a lot of that going on, and it was consistent. And so
Hmm.
I think that to tap into what we're gonna talk about a little bit later, I think I overwhelmed myself as far as my capacity, and I think that is where I kind of cut off my regular morning practice.
Yeah,
So
it's
some
it it
restructuring.
it's definitely hard once you fall off. I have a hard time with disruptions. Like I can be doing yoga consistently every single day for 90 days and meditating before or right after, and then let's say a trip comes up where I have to go out of town or something, and I may not have access to all of equipment, the things that I usually have with me when I'm
Mhm.
doing all of this. And so yeah, I'm gonna be slack those days that I'm actually out on the trip. But when I get back home, it can be very difficult for me to then switch back to the routine that I had before. I'm struggling with that since because I was every day consistent up until November, and then I had
Mm.
to go to Kentucky, and things have just not necessarily been the same since then. So
Yeah.
I feel you on that.
So I
Definitely
tried
feel
to
you on that.
in those moments, I try, just based off of being a yoga teacher, there is yoga is not is much more than just the physical practice, also the mental practice,
Hmm.
also the breathing practices. So I try my best to at least do a breathing exercise in the shower,
Hmm.
do a meditation. Even when I'm laying there, I kind of let my mind go into a meditative state, where I'm just like, don't worry about everything else for a moment. Just be
Hmm.
present. And that kind of gives me somewhat of the preparation. Because when you learn yoga, they tell you that basically all the poses came from the mental space first. So people
Hmm.
were meditating first, and in meditating, they could find that there was some sort of blockage. And in finding the blockage, they created the pose to
Hmm.
release the blockage.
Hmm.
And so just myself, I'm like, all right, where's my blocks? Let me find those first before I start trying to get on my mat.
Yeah.
Let me go into that part. So that's been helpful. That's been helpful.
Yeah. We can circle around to, I think we're gonna end up circling around to this in some other conversations, because I know for me, part of what actually mediates my ability to do that is where I am in terms of dealing with ADHD. And I'm finding that one trick that I've been able to use to sort of jumpstart myself into doing things is actually writing it down on a piece of paper first, because there's something about the hand-eye connection, and actually putting the thing on paper, seeing it, seeing the intention there, and being able to come back. It's called interstitial journaling, where before you do a thing, you write that you're about to do it. Then you do it
Okay.
for however long you said you're going to do it. And then when you're done with it, you come back and report what that experience was like. And then you write more, like, I'm about to da 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 da. But something about actually, you can get up and journal in the morning and go write out an itinerary and a whole to-do list. But there's something about being in the moment and saying you're going to do it that it seems to jumpstart like a greater level of accountability within you that makes you want to go ahead and get it done, and it makes it feel manageable. It's a psychological trick. But anyway, the
There's
show must go on.
I use that for my memorization.
Mm-hmm.
Reading, writing, saying. That ritual
Mm-hmm.
seems to give it more gravitational pull, I guess, for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. I just didn't know it had a name.
Yeah. Interstitial journaling. Interstitil. You'll never catch me on one of those Instagram videos not being able to read and write. But anyway,
Yo.
anyway, look, I know I'm.
The catechisma.
Listen,
Bro,
the world is in a bad place right now because the babies can't read.
No, it's not the world,
And it's not
it's America.
Yeah, well, that's true too. And it's not just I can't read cursive. I just can't read. I don't know how to sound it out. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mentioned to you the other day, I don't know if you had time to do this, but we talked about like the journal, the group chat. Okay, so cool. All right. Well, just to clue everybody else in, one of the things that Mahogany, Yogi, and myself have decided we wanted to do was partly as something to inspire some accountability with regard to reflection and journaling, but also just so that we can, in the moment, real time, get a sense of what's going on in one another's world. We talk on the phone, but doing this, in the whole purpose of the podcast is for us to heal, to grow, to process real time in front of an audience. And so it's important to let you know. So in the group chat right now, what we're doing is sharing every week. We'll select from whatever it is that we journaled during the week, share that with one another, and then we'll go from there. We'll see what happens with this. I'm going to jump back to this particular entry for me, and I may not read the whole thing, but it was called "The Creator Gets Tired Too." I always give my journals a title in case I'm flipping through the journal and I'm trying to remember where I said a particular thing. It's helpful for me to have titles. When you might want to, who's that? Is that you? The Noah? Okay, you might need to mute yourself real quick. All right. When the creator in you refuses to create, it is because the creator gets tired too. All you are is an available vessel whose daily duty is to make room inside yourself, to free up space for more divinity, more divine expression, because to create is divine. All you are is a vessel, an open opportunity to varying degrees in your day-to-day existence. You are not the creator. That is to say, your body, even though it is involved in the act, is not the source of anything except you in the world. The relationship between you and your power, your source, your power source, is intended to be a reciprocal one, a give and give, never a give and take. You feed it, and in exchange, it feeds you. But if a lifetime of survival mode has taught you instinctive selfishness or egoistic hoarding so that you can feel that you are enough, you will take all the rewards and feed yourself off of them without ever being moved to consider that the system of your creative existence requires that you feed more than you need. Because if you do that, you will always have exactly what you need in order to continue feeding. I'm not speaking of feeding others. I'm speaking of feeding yourself, because a malnourished mother is incapable of supporting the life of the baby she wants to birth. Starving herself means starving her baby or aborting it, When we take responsibility for sustaining life within us, it demands that we live intentionally, always mindful of the needs within the God creator part of who we are. When we dare to ask ourselves, what does the God in me need to eat today? We make different choices. When I first began driving, I was advised to refill my vehicle with gas when it reached around half tank. For some reason, people seem to think that it would last longer if I did, and I'd end up spending less money. Not true, but I got what they were saying. I was also told not to drive the car down to fumes because the car would begin throwing trash through the fuel system, which would damage the car. Because without fuel, what else could possibly be pushed through? Now, this I believe. And I'm struck by the spiritual parallel that calls us out for not being mindful of our fuel supply level, the times when we've reached a halfway mark and kept going. And sometimes when that is one's practice, we reach the totally depleted point of running on fumes, which makes us vulnerable to stopping altogether or having what we call a breakdown. And what an inconvenient place to be stranded spiritually and creatively sidelined at the mercy of passersby who may or may not be inclined to stop and give us aid or pick us up because they too are on a path to depletion. The added weight of you and your unfortunate circumstance will deplete their fuel faster. Sometimes we run ourselves down to fumes, render ourselves vulnerable, and initiate the process of trash running through our systems. When you get depleted, and all of the negative stuff that you thought you had under control now starts to bubble up. It's the trash being pushed through your system. Residue from the hard labor of living, the trauma and history previously diluted down to ineffective and minimally destructive levels because the ratio of fuel to trash was sufficient to limit trash related complications. I'm saying it's dangerous to give it all away. And I'm saying it's dangerous to live ignorant of one's own fuel levels. And it's dangerous to sabotage the system of one's own creative existence by not feeding your art as much as your art feeds you. Because when you take feeding out of the system, you starve the hand that feeds you ultimately to death. It's not writer's block, it's hunger. And sometimes it's an indication that the fuel light is on. Each time you create, you give something away. You feed other people. People may never see, you may never see, meet, or know, but you must feed the art inside yourself if you want it to continue feeding you. That's what I got. What you got?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So this was a Thursday. Am I being fair to myself? Am I being compensated in experience, money, inspiration, or future opportunities? Where is the value in what I'm doing? How can I find peace and still be disciplined in my pursuit of providing for myself and my son and my family? Have I let go? Have I let go of past relationships and situationships and all the bitterness or victimization? I am. I am the watcher of my life. I am the mind that is the savior in my story because my story is based off the perspective of which I choose to look at it. I can be grateful and abundant. I can change my direction or simply pause for a moment to see if I need a rest or a reset, a switch in mindset. My presence is a gift wherever I go, and even to be present in the story is a gift to myself. And no one makes it out of this thing without scars, so do the scars have meaning? That's it.
I was trying to unmute myself. Sorry. I like this. I like it. I like it. That last question, do the scars have meaning? Have you been able to extract or assign meaning to the deepest scars? I was, well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Uh, yeah, yes, to a certain degree. I think so. There's a thing that I had that my mind does
Mm-hmm.
because I the way I remember stuff is very intense, is very
Mm-hmm.
vivid.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I think about things that I went through, I have to then think about the process that I went through of healing, think about the process of forgiving, and I have to go through the whole process every time I try not to bring up certain thoughts because I know I have to go through that process again. Um, and I always question whether or not I've healed because of the fact that I have to do that, or if that's
Mhm.
just the way my mind works.
Mhm.
Um, but traumatic experiences, I think about, I re-experience them. I think about the process of, this person was that at this particular point. They're not even there anymore. I'm not there anymore. I've let this go. This was an emotion that I felt. It was very intense, but but I've now forgiven that person and moved on. I will not let that emotion hold on to me. I'll let it pass through me and keep going. And I do that, and
Mhm.
and then I have to give myself a pause of like, hey, it's okay that you have to go through this. This is also part of healing. It's not
Mhm.
something that is a one size fits all thing. You
Mhm.
have to consistently invest in taking some time to kind of like go over your story and pour out any
Mhm.
residue that might be left.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah. Two things you said that really resonated with me and other things that I journaled this week. One was the whole notion of porosity or being porous, being a porous person who, when you think of porous, you think of like mesh, right? With all the
Hmm.
holes in it. Um, Something that is porous, everything that comes to it goes through it, right? And we don't we struggle to live that way where we can just have experiences and allow those experiences to flow through us without getting stuck in us. And
Right.
and then we're left with the residue. And so I've been working on cultivating a practice of intentionally approaching everything and everybody, and with this kind of porosity, so that I don't cling to things that were never meant to stay. All the experiences are meant to come, and you to extract the meaning and the lesson from them, and then be content with the fact and grateful for the fact that you had the experience, even if it was a bad experience.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
getting to gratitude, where we're able to say, and I'm learning also to stop, to change the way that you share the narrative. Instead of telling people, let me tell you about what happened to me, it's now, let me tell you about the things that I had the privilege to experience and survive, and how I survived
Absolutely.
them. I don't want to tell the story anymore from that victim position of like what happened to me. I want to talk about what I survived and how I survived it and still came out of it grateful and all of the stuff. Good stuff. All right.
Right. Right.
Show must go on. All right. So we have another special guest in studio today. Let me see. Let me get down here. He's what we call a swinger. Not in the way that you may be thinking out in the audience, though. Here at the Formula, swingers are our occasional swing guests, correspondents, who from time to time swing by to share their thoughts and ideas with us and to break up the seriousness of what can sometimes otherwise be like really heavy content. So I want you to prepare for Intrusive Thoughts with Deep Thought. Let me run the. All right. So joining us this morning is none other than Arsenio Sorrell. He corrected me on because I was saying Sorrel for the longest time. Sorrell,
I thought he was Jamaican.
poetically known as Deep Thought the Lyricist, born in Chicago, Illinois, raised in Madison, Wisconsin, where they ain't got nothing but cheese and beer. He is a father, an author, a performer, professional master life coach. One of his pet peeves, he says, is people who stand in the middle of aisles or hallways to talk, because he often wants to tell them, move to the side, motherfucker. His, his one guilty pleasure is Pokemon. Okay. And his greatest aspiration is to be on the wheel of fortune. Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody in between, help me welcome Deepthought the Lyricist with Intrusive Thoughts with Deep Thought. All right. Oh, my applause didn't go that time. Deep, what's going on? What's going on?
Dun, 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 dun. No.
It was, I was trying to give you your applause. Let me give you, because, there we go. All right. What you got for us this morning? Do we need to get out of here? Wait, let's put you in the middle so you can be the center of attention. You the birthday, as they say these days.
I don't know what that means.
It's something these new kids, I was about to say the YNs, but it's something that the people say.
Mm-hmm.
What you got?
So I go to therapy, and one of the common themes in my last shamefully several therapy sessions is the subject of friends. And it got me to thinking. I was like, you know what, this lady may be onto something. Like, she may know what she's talking about in this, because how many times do we have people as friends, but we don't really want to call them that because of how they show up for us or what they do or don't do in our lives? So I came up with some alternatives. We just have a list of alternatives for you to call people instead of your friend, because, if you actually look up the dictionary definition of friend, it is a person who has a strong liking for. You got to like them. And trust in another. Trust. How many of your friends do you trust? Like, offhand, do you even have a handful?
This feels messy. Go ahead.
So, yes, of course, we can come up with alternatives, because let's be honest, we're in a world of labels right now anyway. So why not throw some more out there that are actually beneficial to us? That's not a shot at anybody in particular. Okay. So the first label we have is allies. Maybe y'all fighting for the same cause or something. You just need somebody to, pitch in when it's time to pitch in. And they're a good pitcher. It just makes sense to me. So allies is a good one. Consider it. If it speaks to you, speak back. Next, colleague. This one could be a deep dive, to be honest, because this mostly applies to coworkers. And let's be honest, I think we all fall into the trap of being around these people so much that we like, you know what? Shelly is actually kind of cool. When you can't stand Shelly. You can't stand Shelly. The only reason why you like Shelly is because y'all went out to the work party and she got drunk one time and said some shit, was talking shit. You was like, hey, I talk shit too. And y'all bonded over that. You don't like her. You don't. Let's scale it back. This is not your friend. If you even want to use work friend, specify, so it's not full-fledged, but like we get along at the job, talking shit about other people. But colleague outside of there, let's not complicate things. Associate, which is technically somebody with like similar interests, that's fine, but they're not necessarily your friends just because you have a couple things in common that you like. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, because I think people get this one wrong a lot. I think we actually, if we look at it, we probably have way more associates than we actually have friends when we think about it.
There you go. That's the truth.
Right.
Ooh, and you know what? And again, this is another one that could be a deep dive because as poets, writers, this could definitely 1000% be applied to the community and the people you meet. Just because we have shared a stage or been on a platform does not mean we are friends. It does not. Yes, we all have the common interest of writing and or poetry, but come on, man. Really? That's it? That's your only requirement for your friends? Cool. Anywho, associates. It'll make you feel better. Familiars. This is familiars is personally one of my favorite. Like, I know you, but like we're not really connected. You know, like the people you grew up with, like they want them. Oh yeah, I've known you since blah blah blah. I'm like, I mean, I guess technically yes, but you know, we've never been on that level. Like you're a familiar. You're not a friend.
No. Kelly Price said she was a friend of mine. I didn't say shit. What? I didn't say nothing.
Look,
you just somebody I've seen. I've seen you. Yeah.
Look, and Kelly should have kept her as a familiar because
then she ended up with Mr. Big and R. Kelly.
You'd be a lot less hurt that it was her. That you know what? That's another. So supporters, followers, you know, people who are you know, supporting you in whatever ventures you do, and that is very admirable because I have seen people go to great lengths to support people. However, we have to go back to the main point. This does not mean that this person is a friend. Don't just put that label on them.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
you've seen this many times. The crazy fans, you know, that break into people's houses and you know, get caught taking a bath or sleeping in their bed or just doing all types of wild.
You know where those relationships end up? That's where they end up.
Yeah.
Every time.
It gets wild.
That toilet was long.
It's wild. They're not there for the right reasons. Accomplice. So like your partner in crime, you know, this could be, you know, somebody you like to go have coffee with or something, or y'all just like to go to certain events too. Doesn't mean this person.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
I think we did.
Deep froze. Not the freezer. Okay, hold on. All right, let me... Ooh. I hate when this happens.
If you want, I can go into mine and come back to him.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have a commercial break.
I just do me. We gon' get it poppin' like it's Juneteenth. Call the gang, we bout to make a movie. I can't let it play if it don't move me. Ask me how I do it, I just do me. Feel like I'm free, I pull up and they knowin' it's me. Coming up, got it hard out the street. See some things y'all don't probably believe. I'm with the gang and you know they my team. Outcast, we so fresh and so clean. I got gas, yeah, you know 93. I got cash and you know that's on me. Hey, I gotta do numbers. You know I'm hotter than two summers. Say I'm over the top, I don't go under. Say you wanted to smoke, but you prolong it. Can't be breaking the code, telling your honor. I get full of that juice, make me go longer. Anytime they tell me that I can't, give me more ambition, give me more hunger. In the building, I'm
Hey, he's back.
Okay, oh, we're back. So you froze on us. We had to move on. But we'll come back to you. You can wrap up. Go ahead.
I noticed that it froze, and I was like, but I was still on screen with you guys. Like it was the whole time I've been here, but I guess not here. It's really weird.
Yeah.
So, anywho,
you were at accomplices.
Yeah. So strangely enough, I did only have one after that. So the last one I had on my wonderful list of alternative labels to friend is traveling companion. You know, there's some people that when you go on trips, they just know what they're doing. You know, they're not idiots. They don't get you in trouble or get you hurt or get you in a place where you shouldn't be. Like these are good people to travel with. However, you know, it's not always the case. once you get them back to wherever you are and y'all are in your normal lives, like you know, so you just got to realize, like, cool, you're not really a friend per se.
You're a road dog.
You a road dog. You might ride or die, or fly or die. You know, whichever works for you, or boat or die. Is that a thing? People like boats. Okay. So so yes, so that's what I wanted to bring to people in this segment of Intrusive Thoughts, because like I think that's where we struggle a lot when it comes to friends and acknowledging who's really there for us and who not, you know, like because of these labels and the definitions that come with them. We hold people a lot of the times in higher regard than we should. So this is just to help y'all be able to, one, not disappoint yourselves and not be so disappointed in people who are never going to show up as more than these labels anyway.
You know,
can you run those back? I just want to make sure I got them all. It was allies, associates, familiars, accomplices, travel companions. I think I missed one.
Supporters and colleagues.
Let me say this before we go to Tool Talk. And I can say this because I am a gentleman of a certain age. You young bucks, you haven't quite gotten here yet. Let me tell you, as I've turned the corner of 50, recently 51, one of the things that I've realized though is that you have to be consciously aware of it's not the other people, it's you. And you need to be consciously aware of how you're forming friendships and dishing out that label and why. Because when I discovered, when I was honest with myself and discovered and acknowledged that growing up as a Black queer kid, a nerd who never really had a whole lot of friends, you know, when you're starving, everything looks like food, even garbage. And yeah, I heard somebody say recently that a child who is not loved properly will grow up to be an adult who is desperate to be desired. And when I realized about myself that unresolved childhood wound of not necessarily being like a part of the in crowd and having a whole lot of friends made me open to way too many people because I just wanted to be liked and I just wanted to be accepted. Once I realized that and realized that like they're not the prize, I'm the prize. Now the whole thing shifts to when you show up, there's a credit check. I got a credit system just like they do for credit cards. What makes you worthy of my friendship? Why you want to be my friend? What makes you worthy? What's your credit score? Your friendship credit score. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's evaluate all that first. Let's run a background check on you and see, you know, what you're really doing here. But first, I have to check myself and stop forming friendships based on that child inside of me who associates absence with value. Because you will think sometimes that if I don't have people around me or people are not gravitating towards me, what's wrong with me? Right. And that makes you open and vulnerable to, I can't, I can't live like that at this point in my life. I tell the story all the time. I've had so many people pass through my life that at this point, when I meet you the first day, I've already got you a to-go plate packed. What you want? Chicken, mac and cheese on this? You want some yams with this? I'm gonna just sit it to the side for 6 months from now when you decide to pack your shit and go. Because I know, and I don't even get mad or upset or hurt when people porosity. Let it flow through. You were here. You, for whatever reason, we had whatever experiences that were meant to be beneficial to either one of us. You can go now. I'm gonna be okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. Yeah, tool talk. Let's let Deep, me and you, let's get out of here and give Yogi the stage. I'm gonna mute myself and let him.
All right. Good morning. Today in Tool Talk, we are going to talk about knowing the length of your cable tow. So the cable tow is a contraption that is usually on the back of trucks. It's also on ski lifts. It allows something to be pulled and for it to be kept at a certain speed, right? We all have mental cable tows, if you will. In psychology, they call it capacity. And so knowing what capacity is a big thing, right? So let's talk about that first. Mental capacity is task specific, right? It just basically means a person may have the capacity to make some decisions, like where to eat, where they live, but not other things that are more complex, like maybe like balancing a budget or medical decisions, so forth and so forth. And capacity it's not always locked into the same thing. It can fluctuate. You might have the length to be able to hold a lot at some points, and at other points you don't have it. Your emotional state influences your capacity. So being in stressful situations can lower your ability to handle your life or handle certain things going on. Your social environment also affects your capacity. If you're in a beautiful place, you might feel like I can do anything. If you're in somewhere where it's just trash everywhere and things are cluttered and all of that, you may feel like I can't get out of this space. Um, there are also people tend to think that mental illness affects capacity, but sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't at all. Some people who have mental illnesses can do a whole lot of things. I mean, look at Elon Musk. Anyway, we also have effective executive functioning. So your executive functioning again is your like, what order should I make these decisions in? What is the most important? What's my priorities? How do I balance all of that within all the things that I have to accomplish? Your things that you've been through that have been traumatic can also affect your capacity. Your capacity depends on your understanding and your appreciation, meaning like, how am I telling myself the story? That can either make the load heavier or make the load lighter, depending on, again, how you're looking at it. Your social skills also can affect capacity. You may have the ability or desire to want friends, but you don't have the capacity to show up the way that you're asking people to show up for you. You don't show up for other people in the same way. And it may not be because you're disingenuous or because you're just being a-hole. It's more so about, I don't have the mental space to give this thing that I desire for myself. I don't actually know how to do that, or I don't have my things balanced in a way that I can do that for someone. And then mental capacity is always on a spectrum. It fluctuates, like I said earlier. It goes into different spaces. So let's talk about some tools that we can do that we can use to help us with our capacity. The first is self-awareness, right? Be self-aware. You wanna have the space to know where you are, and to know where you are, you have to have some sort of guide, right? So I have 5 questions that I ask myself that I can impart to you. What am I feeling right now? Just take a moment. What am I feeling right now? What am I genuinely feeling right now? And then you can do a little deeper dive into that after you feel like, okay, I'm angry. Well, what are you angry about? Well, I'm angry because X, Y, and Z. Well, are you actually angry, or is this triggering something from before? And you just kind of go dig a little deeper into what you're going through. Simple ones. Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Am I stressed? Am I overwhelmed? Am I reacting emotionally or responding thoughtfully? Most of us tend to react emotionally, right? That's one of the reasons why we should take some time. Would I make the same decision if I was calm? Probably not, right? And does this emotion have to be in the driver's seat right now? There's a popular movie called drawing a blank right now. But it's about a little girl who has all these personalities in her head, and they're all fighting over the driving seat. And that is a perfect example of how our minds work from time to time. So the second tool is the pause and process method. So just pausing. You've heard of a lot of different breathing techniques, square breathing, 10 deep breaths, 20 deep breaths, anything that can get you to come back into your body and out of your mind for a second so that you can be present. Um, some people like to do tapping. That's a big thing for some people. Some people like to go for a walk. Some people like to go for a jog. Some people like to do certain things to say, hey, this is how I refocus. So it's all about that. Whatever it takes for you to pause and process, make sure you add that into your ritual or whatever your daily thing that you do so that you have the ability to make sound decisions and you don't snap your cable toe, right? Currently we call that crashing out. Um, the other thing is the reality test. Quick couple of questions. What evidence do I have to support this belief, right? Because our perspective is always a belief, right? It could be true, but it's also only our perspective. Now, if other people agree with it, then that can give you some evidence that like this is a fact. But we have to actually test that out first. We can't just assume that everything is always exactly what we think it is. And what evidence contradicts it, right? So if I say, oh, this person doesn't like me, and I go to a friend and say, what do you think? And they're like, well, I think you're just overthinking it. All right, well, that's contradicting what I'm feeling. So maybe my feelings aren't grounded in reality, right? Am I making assumptions? I'm assuming that they don't like me. Why? Well, I don't like the way that they talk to me. Well, why don't you like the way they talk to you? Oh, it's not caring. Oh, they're not extra soft with you. You want people to be extra soft with you? That's a you problem, right? Have I considered alternative explanations? Well, what if it's not that they don't like me? What if they're going through something? What if they're stressed out as well? What if they're at the length of their cable toe, and I'm the factor that might snap it, and they're trying to hold on? Um, so then you can have a capacity. This is the fourth tool, your capacity triangle, right? Which is basically going through those different questions and finding out where the balance is, right? And assessing your readiness to be able to make an important question, an important decision. So if I'm going through all this and I still find that I'm angry or I still find that I'm making assumptions, maybe I just take some more time, right? And go do something else. I don't always have to react in the moment. And the more time I have for my brain to process things, for my emotions to come and go, the more I can be like, all right, now I'm in a better space. Now my cable toe can handle this amount of load, right? Or this amount of weight. Um, do I understand? So for your capacity triangle, it's do I understand the information? Can I weigh the options and the consequences? Right? Because there's a reaction, every action has a reaction. So there's a reaction to reactions as well. We don't always talk about that. We always say action, there's a reaction for every action, but there's also a reaction for every reaction. And there may be consequences. Those things are consequences, and we need to know those, or at least think about those before we take action. And then volition. Am I making this choice freely? Meaning I've assessed everything, and now even if I'm okay with dealing with consequences, I am deciding to take that on, right? And therefore I'm not a victim. There's no I didn't know. Maybe I didn't know, but I still made the decision, right? And I'm taking full responsibility for the fact that I made the decision to do this, and I'm dealing with everything that comes along with it. Um, your fifth tool is support and networking and consultation. So find your as Deep said, your list of allies, associates, supporters, colleagues, familiars, accomplices, and travel buddies. Um, but also your mentors, your trusted friends, a therapist, a coach, a spiritual advisor. and ask, what am I not seeing? Does this decision seem reasonable to you? Am I reacting from emotion or wisdom? When you do all of this, what it does is, one, it allows you to not have as many blind spots, right? When you seek elders, when you seek counsel, when you take the time to like process and use all of these tools, well, then now you become a well-rounded person, right? You're thoughtful and you're mindful in what you're doing. And it takes some practice, it takes some time. Um, so I would suggest write down your tools, remind yourself of them, and just kind of like glance at them. You don't have to do all of them every day. Maybe you pick one a day. It's 5 tools. Pick one each day. And if you go through your things like this, especially your stressful moments, especially your heavy moments, you can find it gives you some solace. It gives you some ability to like, all right, I have the tools to figure this out. Therefore, I'm not a victim. Therefore, I'm strong and I'm powerful in making decisions. And then you can affirm yourself in that. And then the rest is reaching out to other people and finding resources and things of that nature. So that is your tools, your mental capacity, aka your length of your cable toe, not to be confused with the girth of your camel toe. So,
What?
so you want to know what that is, and then use these tools to define it. All right.
All right, my cup is acting up. It was allowing me to unmute, then mute me again. Deep, you can come back. So first and foremost, let me just say that when you said cable toy, I did immediately in my head. I heard cable toy. So I can't even shame you for that right there. But so this is supposed to be the deep diasporic deep dive with Mahogany. Mahogany is out today under the weather. And I was going to cover the book that she was bringing to us today, which is actually Octavia Butler's Kindred, which focuses on a character named Dana who is inexplicably thrust into the past, and she keeps going back to the past because she has to save this little white boy who is one day going to be one of her ancestors. And the book really is driving a conversation about ancestral knowledge, about the importance of history and legacy and all of those things. I'm going to table part of that for the main discussion in Soul Speak today, because when you were talking about this whole emotional bit, it made me think of another book. We're going to get to Octavia Butler, and we're going to talk about ancestors and the importance of ancestral information. But another book related to what you were just discussing, this right here, ADHD Brains Don't Come in One Size, a realistic guide to understanding adult ADHD and finding what works for you. Let me tell you that, and y'all in the audience, you're going to hear me talk about this often because of the fact that it is a relatively new revelation in my life to have hit 50 years old and finally gotten diagnosed with an ADHD, and then discover that this has been an issue for you your entire life. I don't know what I thought it was before, but once I started researching and learning about it, I was surprised at all of the areas that it affected. And one of them is emotional dysregulation. So when you were talking about checking yourself to ask, why am I having this response, this reaction, and is it reasonable? When I hit this chapter that says discusses why emotional dysregulation is core to ADHD, because she lays out that if you have ADHD, emotional dysregulation just comes as part of the package, right? She says most people assume that emotional outbursts or intense emotions even end after teenage years, but that's not entirely accurate. We still experience the same emotions, perhaps even more intensely, but we have better regulation systems, or at least the neurotypical mind is supposed to. The ADHD mind, on the other hand, not so much. Studies have found that ADHD adults are more likely to experience emotional outbursts of anger, impatience, and frustration. In fact, a study conducted in 2005 found that 32% of adults with ADHD showed serious issues with emotional dysregulation. So, what does all of this mean? It means that there's a reason you've been struggling with emotions your entire life. No, you're not just being overdramatic or attention seeking as you might have thought or been told in the past. So when I read this, because she later goes on to talk about how if you have ADHD, then the reason for the emotional dysregulation is that your brain does not produce enough norepinephrine. Norepinephrine actually helps you to regulate your emotions. And so it's a chemical imbalance. As soon as I read this, because that person over in the other room, my husband, has historically always told me I'm hypersensitive. And it used to burn me up. It would irritate the hell out of me when he used to call me hypersensitive, because my feelings felt reasonable to me. But what she just laid out is that on a scale, in a situation where from a scale of 1 to 10, a neurotypical person would experience that as like a 2 or a 3, because it's not really that serious or deserving of that much emotional energy. The person who is neurodivergent, who is ADHD, will experience that on level 300. All your feelings are big. You feel everything. You go around telling people I'm an empath because you just have a lot of feelings. I don't I don't go here. I just have a lot, whatever. She just has a lot of feelings or whatever. I put this book down, walked out in the living room. I said, you remember when you used to call me hypersensitive? I'm not hypersensitive. My brain just doesn't make enough norepinephrine, motherfucker.
You said I figured it out.
And I meant that thing. And he looked at me. He's like, oh, so your hormones are off. I said, yes, I've always been hormonally imbalanced. Yes, this is what it is. Listen, I recommend this book even for people who, don't have an ADHD diagnosis, or you don't think you have ADHD. Buy the book. Buy the book. Because you might find yourself in there. I'm just saying. You just might find yourself in there somewhere. So that said, it is important, as you were saying, like check your emotions. Why? And I've learned to adopt this other mantra. I don't have to care about that. That's another perk of hitting 50. I think Wanda Sykes says it differently. She said, once you hit a certain age, I don't give a fuck. Whatever it is, I don't give a but I've realized that in most situations, the things that move the meter, that upset me, I don't have to care about that. I mean, of all the things that I have to care about, that is not one of the things that I have to care about and have to give that much energy. And a lot of times we don't give ourselves the space to acknowledge that. We react and we respond based upon conditioning. You disrespected me. You called me out of my name. So I'm supposed to be angry and I'm supposed to be reactive in this situation. And that is the only reason that I'm turning up and amplifying the situation. But the truth of the matter is, like, if what you say about me reveals you, then you weren't talking to me. Why am I upset? Why am I bothered by what you said and what you just revealed about how you feel about you? I don't have to be bothered about this thing. And I'm gradually getting to that place where I'm learning to pick and choose what I'm going to devote that kind of energy to, because most things just don't deserve it. Right? Oh, okay. Ain't nobody talking to me here today.
No, yeah, I agree.
And let the church say.
Yeah. That's what the church that's what the church can say. Listen. All right. So I'm gonna save. I'll touch on the concepts of kindred and ancestry and history in just a bit. But it is time for us to go ahead and move on into Soul Speak. I'm gonna forego I'll forego the intro for it and all of that business or whatever. We don't have to do all that. But this is what I want to talk about today. Where are my notes at? Okay, so now last week we discussed learning to discern the difference between the voice of the soul and the voice of the body, and we also talked about how the information that the body sends to us is interpreted by the mind and then acted upon and expressed as what we call spirit. And lastly, I also talked about how important it is to utilize the soul to verify or nullify the information that we received from the mind. Now, in that discussion, one of the things that I did not do was provide an official definition of the term soul as I'm using it, because you hear that and you're like, well, what do you mean when you say soul, and how is soul different from the spirit? So, in this discussion and those that will follow, I want to kind of lay this out here. The soul is going to be that uncorrupted God particle within us that only knows itself as an expressive replication and representative of divine energy. Let's go back again. The soul is that uncorrupted God particle within us, the seed of God within us, that only knows itself as an expressive replication and representative, of divine energy. A form of what we call God. And you all know I use the word God just because it's familiar to everyone who's hearing me talk about this. But to be quite honest with you, in my day-to-day life, I resist the word God just simply because I feel it's too small for what the divine is. And it also carries with it a whole lot of other implications that we have married and merged to it in the name of religion. But it's a form of what we call God that is subject to human experiences, but designed with the capability of not ever being any less of itself because of those experiences. So the soul is the constant God particle within us, right? That's important for you to know. Now, that said, while most of the time when we talk about the soul, we talk about saving our soul. You need to get your soul saved. You need saving our soul. But the truth of the matter is that if the soul is the God particle within us, then what we should actually be practicing and talking about is how to allow our souls to save us instead of us saving the soul, because the soul knows what we need. And most often we are in the dark about that. Also, good morning and happy Sunday to all the people over on YouTube. I didn't say that earlier. So in that discussion last week, I also made reference to the soul having infinite knowledge that is not limited by time or space. And I mentioned the soul speaking to you from the future. I put a lot on the table, I know, and I did that purposefully because I have this plan to open up all of those those dense substantive concepts over the weeks that are to come. So today I want to return to those concepts, and I want to explain to you how I got there with this idea of the soul speaking to us from the future. Now, anybody that knows me, that's a real friend, knows I wouldn't necessarily consider myself to be a sci-fi fan, but there are some sci-fi franchises that really grab me every single time. If there's a Predator movie on TV at all, even though I've seen them all like 80 million times, I don't care. I'm going to watch The Predator every single time. I love that movie. I do not know why. Or I love that whole series. I don't know why.
Did you see the new one?
I did. Yeah, we'll talk about that offline.
Right.
I still love The Predator. Anyway, I also love The Matrix. And in all honesty, The Matrix has provided me with a guiding principle that I use to navigate life on a daily basis, because I remind myself often that none of this is real. All of this is constructed. Everybody has chosen a particular role that they're willing to occupy. There are people around me, the people who are pushing and prodding at you, trying to move your meter, are people who are oftentimes asleep, still in the matrix. I'm in my place of enlightenment, situated outside of that. I don't have to participate in any of that. right? So The Matrix, I don't view that as just a film. I think both of these films that I want to talk about, well, The Matrix is number one, and number two, today I want to talk about Terminator. But The Matrix is prophetic. It's a prophecy in many ways. And we have to consider that within the human imagination, what we come up with that we think of as fiction, that we think of as entertainment, is coming from some place within us, right? I should also mention that, The Matrix, Black woman wrote. Anyway, Terminator, 1984 film, sci-fi action film, you know it, where a nearly indestructible cyborg assassin played by Arnold Schwarzenegger is sent back into 1984 Los Angeles, and his mission is to kill Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton, who, because doing so prevents the birth of her unborn son, John, who will eventually lead humanity in a war against hostile machines, right? So the robots, the machines take over, and the system, AI, takes over, and this cyborg comes back to destroy the one person who is capable in the future of supplanting that. Let's take a look real quick at this.
All units, grade 4 suspect vehicle's been found in a parking structure at 4th and Baldwin.
Oh, you know what? Sorry. Let me back that up.
It's living human tissue.
Let me back that up. Sorry.
The Terminator's an infiltration unit. Part man, part machine. Underneath, it's a hyperalloy combat chassis. Microprocessor controlled, fully armored, very tough. But outside, it's living human tissue. Flesh, skin, hair, blood, grown for the cyborgs.
Look, Reese, I don't know what you want.
Pay attention! I gotta ditch this car. The 600 series had rubber skin. We spotted them easy. But these are new. They look human. Sweat, bad breath, everything. Very hard to spot. I had to wait till he moved on you before I could zero him.
Look, I am not stupid, you know. They cannot make things like that yet.
Not yet. Not for about 40 years.
Are you saying it's from the future?
One possible future. From your point of view, I don't know tech stuff.
Then you're from the future too, is that right?
Right.
Right.
Okay, one more thing I want to show you real quick, and this is not in the realm of fiction. Let's take a look at this here.
From a severe concussion. His parents say when he woke up, though, he was speaking only Spanish, a language he had never spoken fluently before. Channel 2's Gwinnett County Bureau Chief live in Gwinnett County on this. With some video of the incident, and Tony, why his parents want to warn everyone about the dangers of concussions.
Yeah, Justin, this was the Brookwood High student's third concussion playing soccer. He says the sport is his passion. He wants to play it professionally, but everything's unclear right now. He can't go to school, his family's struggling, and they don't know what the total impact is. What do you remember about that game?
Not really anything.
This is the collision late last month that has turned Ruben Anselmo's life upside down. He was playing goalie for an elite Gwinnett County-based national team when he dove for the ball. Another player kicked him in the head. Ruben's coach says the teenager stopped breathing several times.
I was in shock and panic, right? And then he would come back, then he started throwing up. It was a sequence of things that I've never seen, really. It was bad.
You thought you might lose him there?
I thought I might lose him there.
Ruben was airlifted to Atlanta Medical, where he spent several days in a coma.
Our life has changed through this process.
And when he did wake up, his parents say he spoke only in Spanish at first, a language he'd never spoken fluently before. For now, Ruben stays at home, twirling a ball and watching games on TV.
Sometimes I daze out. Sometimes, like, I feel like I'm not there, but I am.
He hopes one day to be back on the pitch himself. And when he does return, his coach wants him and every other goalie to wear a helmet.
Everybody's waiting till that big thing happen before they start wearing the mask. We should try to prevent these things from happening.
All right. So he's out there playing sports, and one of the kids hit his reset button. Kicked him and hit his reset button. And when he came...
Not hit his reset button.
I mean, I'm not trying, they hit his reset button. And so when he comes out of the coma, then
factory settings.
Yeah, he's speaking Spanish, which he's never spoken before. And this is not a new thing, right? Like, I've seen videos of, I know that I saw one of a Black woman who was in a coma. And when she came out of the coma, she was speaking French or speaking, and other people wake up, they either speak other languages or they speak a perfect accent, in a perfect accent for another language. And we do not know how or why this happens, right? I have a theory about how or why this happens. I do. But let me just back up to the Terminator piece, and then I'll connect it all. The way that I came to this is I'm, as usual, standing in the kitchen washing dishes, and I hear this little voice over on the right-hand shoulder, because the Terminator has never been one of my favorite movies. I struggle to get through it every time, mostly because of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I do. It's not one of my favorite films. I've seen it and tried to watch it many times, but this voice says, "Do you really know what that film is about?" And I was like, I mean, the robot comes back, tries to kill the woman because, No, go back and watch it again. And I sat and I watched this, and some things started clicking. Now, let me preface all of this by saying that I am not a physicist. I'm not a quantum physicist or any other kind of physicist, but we are going to discuss some things that deal in the realm of metaphysics today. Because the field of metaphysics, one of the things that it studies is time. And there are a couple different theories that they have. One is a theory of dynamic time, a theorist, who believe that time fundamentally passes and that the distinction between past, present, and future is an objective feature of the universe. They believe in something called presentism, or the belief that only the present moment exists. The past and future are unreal, and the present slides forward, bringing new things into existence while erasing the old. There's also what's called a growing block theory, or the belief that the past and the present do exist, but the future does not. As time passes, the universe grows by adding new slices of the present to an ever-expanding block of the past. Then they have, under the A theory, they also believe in something called a moving spotlight theory, which is the belief that the past, present, and future all exist, but one specific moment is metaphysically highlighted as, quote unquote, the present. The spotlight moves forward through the timeline. Then there are the B theorists, and the B theorists say they are known as advocates of the block universe, and they believe that all moments, past, present, and future, are equally real. They believe in four-dimensionalism, that time is treated as the fourth dimension of a unified space-time, just as different points in space exist. And then they also believe that there's no flow, that time does not actually pass. Instead, objects and events simply stand in permanent relation of an earlier than or later than or simultaneous with each other. In essence, what they're arguing here is that time itself is something, it's a construct, that it does not exist. There's no such thing as the past, the present, and the future. There's really only existence that is not demarcated by hours, seconds, years. There's just existence on a continual timeline, and that you exist at all places on that timeline at the same time. Now, if you can accept that we came up with the idea of the clock, we came up with the idea of the calendar, we came up with this idea of increments of time, right? And within that, we decided that there is a past, a present, and a future. Then if you can accept that, then you can also accept that this notion, this construct itself, really doesn't do anything to concretely demarcate moments in time. It's just that we are existing, and we are existing at different points in different places. So there is a future version of you that already exists, that knows everything that you have done, will do, need to do, that from time to time speaks to you in order to give you guidance, to keep you on the pathway towards this destiny point of purpose, which is what John Connor was eventually set up to do, to be the person who was the disruptor, who would overthrow the system, overthrow the machines. And they, in that aspect of existence, do not want that to happen. And so the best way for them to overthrow that is to get rid of the mother who would give birth to the child, right? Have you ever had a moment of deja vu, where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you feel as if I've been here before? I've heard myself say this thing before. I felt exactly what I'm feeling in this moment before. How do you explain that? How do you explain that overwhelming feeling of deja vu that says this is not a new moment? As I'm watching the film under this, divine direction, some things started to click, and I started to realize, no, in that moment of deja vu, that is the quote unquote future you further on down the timeline, speaking back to the present version of you about a moment, about direction that you need, allowing you to receive some kind of guidance that you may need in that moment. You have access then, under that theory. Again, I'm not a physicist, but under that theory, you have access to infinite knowledge. And that knowledge is contained in the God particle that knows your existence from beginning to end, and that is able to inform and educate you and guide you based on this infinite knowledge that it has. But what if, for the kid whose factory reset button gets hit while he's out playing sports and he wakes up speaking another language, what if what has actually happened in that moment is that a past self, or what we call past lives, which may not have been Black, may not have been male, may not have been female, in that moment emerges as it is outside of the confines of the body that is existing in this moment of the timeline, and full of and capable of all of the things that that version of you on the timeline is aware of, including other languages. What if? So I'm not presenting this to you as hardcore facts of physics, but more so, I want to ask a series of questions, because as I contemplated this, and the numerous times that I've had these deja vu moments of being here before. And even Ade was on with us last week, and I talked in last week's session about how she mentioned, you're old. You are really, really old. This is not your first go round, and you need to remember who you are. In that moment, there was this something that clicked, that I realized I've been living by the dictates and according to the experiences of this body in this iteration of who I am, but that is not who I am. Who I am is the uncorrupted God particle that is not subject to all of the social constructs and the rules and regulations of this world, the systems of this world. Who I am, and at my most divine core level, who I am is someone and something completely different that cannot be stopped, cannot be slowed down, cannot be deterred unless I allow it to, by the experiences that I'm having, which is why I go back to the importance of checking in with the soul, the God particle, to ask in every situation, what should I be doing? How should I be responding? What is the end goal here? What is the path from this moment to purpose? Because I know you're in there, and you're speaking to me, and I know you know. And so I started asking myself some questions, some very serious questions about the life that I am currently living and the vision that I have of myself further down the timeline, the future me. Are the two in alignment with one another? And if not, where are they out of alignment with one another? And then something else starts downloading, and I clicked again and realized every decision and every word that you speak is automatically a manifestation. When you process that, the idea that everything that you choose to do is a manifestation, you make different choices because you don't want to choose to do the thing that is going to manifest what you don't want to experience further on down your timeline. And so the soul, the timeless soul that is not bound by space or time, it speaks to you to inform you of the choices that align with how it got where it is. Our problem is that we don't, one, cultivate the relationship with the soul that wherein we know how to and learn how to listen for it and to it, which requires silence, number one, intention, number two, and consistency, number three. And when you gather all of those factors together and make that your life, and you live in conversation with the soul, right? Everything shifts, everything changes, your choices change, your outlook of your and view of yourself changes. You stop seeing yourself as a victim and rather as someone who has had the opportunity, like I said earlier, to experience certain things, to extract information from those things so that that information can then help push you on further towards purpose. So I have a couple questions that I want to put on the table, both for Yogi and for Deep Thought, but also for you, the audience. And these also I'm offering to you as journal prompts for the week, things I think that you should devote some space to contemplating. Number one, if you wrote a profile of the future you, the one at the heart of your life vision, who secretly holds you accountable for your daily decisions, how would you characterize that version of yourself? What does that profile look like? How do you describe that version of yourself? Number two, how does your current life align with your future vision? What are the adjustments necessary to effectuate full alignment between now and then? Because a lot of times we say that we want certain things, we want success, we want to achieve and acquire certain things, but the decisions that you're making on a daily basis are saying something completely different. Your decisions are setting you up to manifest something completely different. You can't be at odds with yourself while fighting for your future. Question number three, what does your future self ask you for that you struggle to surrender to, and why is it a struggle? And then lastly, what have been some of your Terminators? Now, the Terminators get interesting because Terminators are drawn to the energy that you resonate and the possibilities that are embedded in your being. Terminators are fully aware of who you are, even when you're not aware of who you are, and seek to displace you, seek to disrupt your life and cause you to make the decisions that will keep you from getting to where it is you're supposed to be. Because when you get there, the divine has set it up in such a way that you will do damage. You exist to subvert the system, because none of this stuff that we are living under and in the system of this world is natural. I do not believe that we were made for this society as it is. We constructed a lot of stuff in it that goes against who we are really meant to be and how we're really meant to function, which is at a spiritual level, in spiritual conversation with ourselves, with the divine, and with others at all times. We do not have that as a society. But if we are God particles clothed in human flesh, navigating the world with the goal of love, peace, stability, because we have that within ourselves. When you have it within yourself, it's not difficult for you to activate that in the world that you live in. It's just the thing that you have to know about the people who show up as disruptors and people who whose energy is negative and low vibrational and those things. That's an indicator of some instability within the self that still has not been worked out. Why would you let that ruin your day? Why would you let that change your trajectory? Why would you let that impact your decisions and cause you to get off track and not reach your point of destiny when you're supposed to get there, to do the thing that you're supposed to do, all because somebody else is dysregulated? 4 questions. Let me go back and bring Arsenio and Yogi back in, and then we can sit and talk about this. Did we lose Deep? Is he still here?
Is he? I think his screen is still there, I think.
Yeah, this thing is crazy today. Like, I'm signed in 3 times. I'm on here in 3 different. Oh, okay. Anyway, I don't know what's going on. We must have lost Deep. But anyway, the questions, Ascari. So first of all, I'd like to hear thoughts on the theory itself, thoughts on the Terminator, this idea of timelessness, and the relationship between now and whenever then is. And then we can talk about some of the questions and how this resonates with you. What you got?
So immediately, this is one of my favorite series, favorite movies. And the fact that you mentioned the Matrix, because the Matrix and the Terminator are actually one story. A lot of people don't know that the Matrix is the future version of the Terminator reality. And so the repetitiveness. So there's certain things that you said that was very keen to me, because in the movie The Matrix, they mention the deja vu and how that's a reprogramming of the system to make you. They're changing something to make you think that it's normal, but it's not, and the deja vu is the key to letting you know that something has changed. Say that to say that is very so many different thoughts I have about this. Okay, so the Terminators aspect of like mind, if you're the main character and there are things that come in to try to stop you from reaching a certain future, how do you recognize that? How do you handle that? How do you safeguard yourself? Right. And in the movie, there's somebody who has to teach you how to do it. Right. Kyle comes back and he has to teach his, unbeknownst to him, mother of his child, how to prepare his son for this future that's going to start happening, right? And so in a very short amount of time, he downloads, as you will, a lot of information into her that allows her then to become sort of, and this is the nuance of this is very cool as well, because in essence, the story of Neo and the story of John Connor are similar to the story of Jesus Christ, right? Where you have this person who is being prepared to be the savior in both stories. And it is in his awareness and in his acceptance of who he is that he fully becomes his own savior, right? And in saving himself, he ends up saving everyone else.
I like that. I like that. That was good.
So,
right.
So that's very, very, very like really dope to me, because of the fact that it does point you back into the I am, right? It points you back into like, are you seeing this story as a projection of your own? Are you taking it in as this is someone trying to teach you about yourself and how you work? And tapping into the aspects of there being multiple realities. Kyle also mentions that where he says, I don't know physics. He says, I don't know. I don't know the mechanics, something like that. But he's explaining to her what happens, but he doesn't know the technicalities of it. And so it's like that's also part of our thing of what we call ancestral knowledge. I question whether ancestral knowledge is ancestors or if it's different versions of us at different points in presence. I don't want to say time anymore. I want to say presence.
Can it be both? Because you are flesh and blood and you are spirit. So in one sense, it is, you existing at different points in the timeline of your whatever. But in another way, because you are in a body that is filled with blood, and that blood is also filled with information, both are actually active in your life at the same time. And sometimes what comes with the blood ain't good.
So, all right. So I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole.
Okay. And then I need you to give me and do it quickly, and then give us your profile. What's the spiritual profile if you look into the future you, and the alignment issues? Like, where are you in terms of being aligned with that version of yourself? Do you see it?
I think I think that I've been consistently trying to do something my entire life, which is to be the foundation of something. Not necessarily to build it all, but to like start the vision
of something. You don't know what that something is yet.
It's
okay
it's a unification of people, but I don't know exactly what it is, because at one time I thought it was yoga teachers, then I thought it was poets. But it's been a consistent desire to create something that safeguards and sustains the people who are a part of it.
Okay.
So back to what I was saying. Okay, so Matrix. Dang, what was that? I just had, you took my thought away from me. You asked me something before. What was I answering before that?
The blood and the
yes. Okay, I got you. So time only exists because we are counting the loopholes around the sun, right? We're counting these loops around the sun. We're also counting how our weather, seasons, and so forth happen. But that is the reason why I say it's not necessarily, it's real, but it's not real. It's real in the aspect of like, you made up a measurement for something. The measurement is not perfect because the earth that has an axis and it wobbles. So therefore, they try to account for it by saying, oh, we have a leap year. It's not actually on point. It's not perfect in the math. So what we're counting is not correct. So just in knowing that means that you're not the age that you're being told you are. You aren't the sign that you were told you are. Like, it's not a perfect metric, although we would like to believe that it is. That being said, the other thing about time is that someone created it. Someone created how we measure it, which means that it's man-made. Although the things that they're using to measure it aren't man-made, the imperfection, the flaw in it shows you that it's man-made, right? And then how do we, when we talk about the blood, I'm getting to the blood now. Okay, so the blood, we're all in it. Meaning,
you gotta wrap it up.
I got you. So you exist, to me, you exist as a tone in a song, if you will. The song is your bloodline. You are one tone in it. And every once in a while, your tone pops back up. You might be a verse, you might be a hook, you might be a bridge, but you keep coming back. And that is something that was in the story as well, right? With John and Matrix, and when they told Neo that he wasn't the first one to be Neo. There was multiple versions of him. And in the same way, I think that happens with us, and I think that we're speaking to ourselves, possibly speaking to ourselves, and we're calling our previous selves ancestors. And so,
don't go any further. Stop right there. Because I want to get to deep thought, but I also want to answer the question myself. One, I started my own spiritual profile. Subject is 51 years old, but understands himself as infinite, Black, but most often experiences a sense of racial dysphoria due to additional acceptance of himself as queer, which he believes to be a misunderstood form of elevated spiritual consciousness and a revolutionary form of freedom. Subject concedes categorization of male, though notes he lives life at the open door between his two energetic corridors. Subject is a God fragment Subject is undergoing system repair with the goal of internal alignment between body and soul, seeking two-state solutions, peace and porosity, the ability to allow life to flow through him without attachment to meanings or moments. Subject is rewinding himself to address previously overlooked design disruptions, to fix the timeline and course correct the journey, denounce artificial intelligence and other inside mind incongruencies of true identity. Subject is a jewel, a power source, an energy experience, a healer, both hands covered in scar tissue skin. We're back to the scars. Okay. You know, I didn't even just gonna talk about it deep. Profile, alignment between you and the vision that you have of yourself. What adjustments do you need to make? And why have you perhaps not made some of them? That's a lot, I know.
Right. I mean, I think really just kind of tying in what I spoke in earlier, but more on a serious note. Some of the people I have ties to, or have tied myself to, rather. I think that is something that I'm currently in the process of working on. I think it's easy to get into the habit of just constantly helping people, and it can be to a hindrance at times, I think, to the point where, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily resulted in self-neglect, but it definitely has put me in a position where my own needs and stuff have become something I have to schedule in to in order for that to be a thing. And then I guess a constant with me is just always working on my patience. I get irritated very easily. And it is because I just like, there are so many times where I'm like let's just get to it. Let's do this. Let's get, like, come on. I don't want to, like, talk faster, you know, like to the point. Stop beating around that bush and jump in it. Like come on. So yeah, so it that is a constant that I think I'm well on my way, but there's definitely some relapsing here and there to familiar situations.
So, question for both of you. Do you ever find yourself, do you struggle to see yourself beyond your now?
No.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I've had very clear goals, and then times where, like, I can't see anything because I'm stuck in like a fog almost.
Yeah. Okay. So then, if you identify, then if we say you're going to work on making one adjustment this week, to align yourself with purpose and the achievement of arrival at this visionary future you, what would that one adjustment be for the week? One thing.
Just consistent clarity on the immediate priorities, and then moving forward from there. I think that the more it's like taking so to me, any goal that I have, if I'm looking too far forward, then I miss the steps in front of me. If I stay focused on the steps in front of me, I can lose the direction of the goal because I'm too focused on the small things. So I have to kind of go back and forth and do a macro, micro, macro, micro to be able to, like, know that I'm going in the right direction and that I'm actually making steps towards it.
What are your Terminators? What have been some of your Terminators? Or should I say who? Put a name on it.
I probably am my biggest critic. So
Same.
I'm a perfectionist. And so I think my own desire for things to be a specific way have slowed me down in so many different ways throughout my life. Where it has to be perfect. It has to be this way, or else I can't move forward. And so I'm now relinquishing that part of things, of allowing things to not be perfect. Just allow it to be what it is, because that's all the time you had to give to it. That has been still very difficult because I pride myself on, there are people who work, and then there are craftsmen. And I'm a craftsman. Things have to have a certain amount of my own effort, my own artistry, my own, thing for it, because I want that to be how people perceive it, right? And so I have to figure out,
But not just
what
how
thing
people
can I
perceive it, how people perceive you.
right, that as well.
Yeah,
That as
like let's
well.
not. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the caveat is this actually a perception of me, or is this just something that I did? And as everybody else's perception of it the same as mine? And it's no. I put details into poems that people, I would have to like tell you that, like, this line means this, and like, but no one else knows. Maybe a couple of lyricists, people who really get into certain things would know, but most people have no idea, and it just flows right by them, and it's like I spent hours on that.
But if we go back to earlier, you were lifting up the Socratic method of asking yourself questions until there are no more questions. Then the question in this instance becomes, should you or do you even really need to care about whether or not people get
Right,
it?
right,
Right? Because then what that reveals about us as artists is that we're doing art not for necessarily for the sake of the art, but also for the sake of the acknowledgement, which I think is the thing that every good artist has to liberate themselves from. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You have to free yourself from that. When I think about like the paintings of Basquiat, which when you look at it, a Basquiat painting looks like a child just grabbed a crayon and just started. But if you try to replicate that, it is extremely, and trust me, under the influence, I have tried. I have tried in my garage with a few paintbrushes, and yeah, it's not easy, and it's not juvenile, it's not childish, right? Um, but that became his brand and worth millions of dollars. But he had to be in the state of mind, as a neurodivergent person, of not allowing himself to care what the artist, I mean, what the audience thought about the art that he
right.
was assigned to produce. Right? You see the same thing when you think about an artist like Prince, right? Um, an otherworldly, from another realm, another dimension kind of artist who just would not allow themselves to care what people thought about their art. And as such, that then like amplified the value of the art itself because it was art without boundaries, art without social constructs imposing on it, art without the imposition of other people's expectations, right?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. It
Um,
was that there are certain artists who I love, and who are very like my favorites. Like I'm a big Under 3000 fan, not because of the fact that he's just a lyricist, but because of his topics that he chooses to bring in. Right? It was always pushing consciousness to me,
mhm,
like, or pushing a
mhm,
different level of awareness,
mhm,
whereas other people, it was just like the impression of the lyricism.
mhm.
And I view, there are certain people to me that are like that. Like, you have, I think Prince is one of them. I think Under 3000 is one of them. I think Grace Jones is one of them.
Don't leave out
There's
Badu.
the Badu is definitely one of them. But there's so many people who push this space of like, I'm weird and I'm supposed to be, and you are too, but you're just scared.
Mhm, mhm,
And I think that kind of, seeing those people empowers you to like relinquish What we better say?
But this is the whole conversation I'm trying to have here about the you that you are now versus the soul God particle version of you further on down the timeline, who, in all honesty, may be trying to get you to free yourself and let go of all of the expectations and all of the things of this world to be the alien that you are.
Right.
But
Right.
being the alien is a frightening thing, because what do I do without acceptance? What do I do without acknowledgement and approval? What if I do if this thing enriches a lot of people's lives but doesn't make me any money? You know?
Right.
So it's still that conversation, because I believe that part of us is always calling us to freedom.
Right.
Because the God particle is the part of you in the middle that everything else that becomes this thing that we call life attaches itself to. And you can reach a point in life where you've allowed so many things to attach themselves to that particle that you can't see or hear from the particle anymore, and neither can anybody else who is witnessing you. So the mission every single day when you get up has to be figuring out how to shed another layer of what you have allowed to, attach itself to your God particle, so that you can get back to the place of revealing what's underneath all of that, which is the greatest version of you, the divine version of you that does not need rules, doesn't need the regulation, doesn't need to pander to people's expectations, that is just free in its divinity and its expression of that. That's the goal. We got to wrap up because we're running out of time, but I want to, let me just recap. You had something to say, Deep Thought? I'm coming back to you.
No,
Was that
no,
a
no.
yes? Oh, okay.
No, we're good.
Okay. So journal thought prompts and afterthoughts. If you wrote a profile for the future you, the one at the heart of your life vision, who secretly holds you accountable for your daily decisions, how would you characterize that version? 2, how does your current life align with your future vision? What are the adjustments necessary to effectuate full alignment? Write a list. Number 3, what does your future self ask for you? Ask for, that you struggle to surrender to. Why is it a struggle? And 4, what have been some of your terminators? I'll post these on Instagram in the stories so that you can, get them later if you want to journal these. But I also want to issue a challenge to the audience this week. I want to start this 7-day challenge. And on the 7-day challenge, what I'm putting out there for you to try, and I'll put this on the Instagram story too. Every single day this week for the next 7 days, I want you to, 1, try to do one intentional act of healing. Make this determination first thing in the morning and follow through. So the first thing in the morning, when you open your eyes and you sit on the side of the bed, ask yourself, how am I going to heal today? What am I going to do that is intentionally geared towards me experiencing some level of healing today? Number 2, do one thing, no matter how big or small, to facilitate movement on an important project you've been putting off, or an aspect of your life vision that you haven't been actively working on. The future, your soul has been speaking back to you, telling you who to be, which direction to go, what you need to do, and you have not made any progress. If you want to achieve anything, you have to touch it every single day. You have to make some movement in it every single day, even if it's small. And then number 3, challenge yourself to perform one act of personal liberation with a goal of rendering yourself a little freer each day. Make a list of as many areas of your life where freedom is needed as possible. Then decide what you want to begin working on. I was typing in a hurry. I left the word on off. So, as a practice, every single day, figure out, how can I get to a place of greater freedom in this day? What am I going to do that will be liberatory for my soul, for my God particle today? What am I going to do? All right. So those are things. And again, I'll post these on Instagram so you can have access to them after the show ends. We are over time. Sorry, y'all, but not sorry, because we're here to eat and y'all welcome to stay. Deep, did you have anything you wanted to say before I close the show out this morning?
No.
Does the future you approve of you being a swinger for the Formula podcast?
You know, it's my first swinging experience, but
with two men.
It been pleasant.
Oh, you jump out the gate in a threesome. That's okay. Anyway. Woo-wee. What a time to be alive. All right, listen, I want to thank all the people over on YouTube who hung out with us this morning. I hope something that was said was beneficial. If you still have questions, if there's something that I said that was not clear for you, you can feel free to email us at theformulapodcast26@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Instagram. If you're watching over on YouTube, please, please, please don't leave without hitting that like button, and also subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to the channel, email us. If you want to support the show, if you feel like this information is beneficial for your life, I don't want to sound like I'm at church taking up an offering, but you know, when you walk into McDonald's and eat, you pay where you eat. Okay. Support the podcast so we can keep giving you all this content because it costs money. All right. Cash App, Tariq, TARIQ 43. I want to let you all know that in the weeks to come, we're working on some things, some big things. We got some merch that's coming. We got some additional content that will be available ultimately over on what's that site called? Starts with a P. You know what I'm talking about? Patreon over on Patreon. Okay. Yeah. There's some Patreon content that's coming. Shirts, cups, journals, all the things are coming eventually. But we appreciate your support. We do need some financial support. I would appreciate that also. And tell somebody about the podcast. Share the link every Sunday. We start at 10 a.m. We endeavor to be done at 11:30, but sometimes we go a little bit over if the conversation is good. But you were good to hang out with us today. Deep Thought, thank you very much. You'll be back swinging with us next month. You know, yeah. Deep Thought said, I'll try anything. I'll try anything once. Nevertheless, I want you all to have an amazing Sunday today. Remember the affirmation of the day. That doesn't belong in here. That whatever it is that's trying to invade your space, it doesn't belong here. Remember also, listen for the voice of your soul. Know that all the answers that you're seeking, that you're looking for, you already know the answers. You don't have to wait for the answers to be given to you. You just need to get in touch with yourself and surrender to the answers. The Sankofa concept teaches that we learn from the past, that you go back and get it or go back and fetch it. So if this is the test, if today is the test, your life has been the study period. You already have the information. You just got to go back to the right place, thumb through and figure out, where did I learn the answer for this thing that I'm going through right now? The universe is not going to ask you any questions that you don't already have the answer for within you. Trust yourself. Trust your soul. Trust your body when it's telling you something, but know that your mind can interpret that information a million different ways. Ask the soul. And we will see you next Sunday at 10 a.m. Y'all say bye now.
Bye now.
Be sweet, babies.